Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the series of talks for the 61st Faenza Prize. Thank you for being here, as usual. I am Irene Biolchini. I'm a member of the jury of the prize, and I'm also the guest curator at the MIC, the International Museum of Ceramics in Faenza. And so today I will give you a short introduction of our guests, and we will talk directly with them. And as usual, if you have questions, you can write us and we will try to react as better as possible. Luckily enough, I'm so happy to be here today with these artists and with this selection, which I think it's quite coherent in the kind of research and in the poetics of all the artists we are going to introduce. And so I hope you will join our journey today. I will not waste any time more annoying you, but instead I will try to pass directly the word to the first artist presenting our research. And so, Eva, if you want, we start with you and your research.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for a nice introduction. Hello, ciao tutti. My name is Eva Berkich, and I come from Belgrade. It's a capital of Serbia, and I spent here all my life. So I studied here ceramics in the Faculty of Applied Art in Belgrade, in the department of. I majored in a department of sculpture ceramic, and after that I stayed here and I do ceramics all my life. So since the faculty, I started to participate in some exhibitions, and that was a great experience for me. And I'm very happy to be part of this exhibition because it's very good one. It's one of the best. So I'm super honored to be part of it and for you to select my works. And I usually work in porcelain, mainly in porcelain. And through all my works, I think it's now it can be recognized because I work with porcelain, and also I use this theme of fairy tales and something like imaginary world. So I think this is something that people are recognizing my work for. And on this picture, you can see part of my solo exhibition. This was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago in Belgrade, and it's the name of My Favorite Things. So I think I'm pretty simple about giving names to my works and my work. So it's very clear what does this mean. And one of the most important things about me and my work that I enjoy working in ceramics. This is why I do it, and this is the only for actually in my life, this is the only part where I'm totally free. When I do sculptures, I don't have some restrictions. I don't have any rules. Although ceramic has many rules, I feel free in this way. I also do some utility functional ceramics, but in the sculpture, I can be most myself. And this is my world. This is I make what I like, and I think my works are very, very simple and easy to read. And what I like also is that they are making the audience to communicate. I like to hear it makes communication, I think, with the people that are observing it. So this is also one part that I'm enjoying, listening to other people's comments, because all these elements in these large compositions, installations that I make, I put them in some kind of communication and some kind of connection. something is happening here. Like I'm trying to make things alive, and so this is it's interaction, works and elements of the work, but also audience and me and everything. So this is what I like to do. So we can go on the next one.
Yes.
This is all. These are the details from
Yes.
this composition, and I can say something about the technique, maybe.
Yes, why not? I mean, since it's a specific prize for ceramics, I'm sure that our the people listening to us will be happy to hear such information.
Well, for example, I mixed many techniques. Some of the parts are slip casted from molds, but I don't have mold for one piece. I usually combine many pieces and cut and glue together, and so there are no two same pieces that I make, of course. And also, what I like is porcelain. It deforms while firing, so it's always a surprise. Some of these, for example, these teapots and teacups, they have a little character. They are not straight. They tend to like to be in the movement, and what porcelain is doing is like it adds a little bit to the movement, like after the firing. So I like these effects also. I use normal. I don't use many kinds of glazes. I use like transparent glaze. It's nothing special. Mm-hmm. But these pigments and engomes, how do you say? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I like to experiment with this. I like to mix them. I like to try different kind of applying them with a lot of water, like aquarelle kind of thing, or mixing it with in the mass, in the body of mass. So. Mm-hmm. It's something like with the real cakes in the kitchen. It is my game, and I don't have rules there, so I'm like experimenting all the time. Also, I after the firing, I add gold, like gold luster. So this, I think every element has a little bit of gold. I like these accents, and it gives some different like royal dimension. And also for these large compositions, I tend to make the whole ambient, like it's the little light and the table and these wires. So I make like whole scenography. If I have a chance to have like a big space, I like to work with all materials, not just the ceramics, but everything that's surrounding. Great. So lighting and place and tables and everything.
Of course.
So we can slide to the next one. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't remember which order I put. So yeah, these are also details, and yes. They are very fragile, and it's horrible when I have to send this to. This is my biggest problem, because it has so many thin details, and for the sanding it's a problem. But
so you are very free in the creation, less free in the shipping, yes, because yes. It creates problems. Mm-hmm.
I think people need to think of this some kind of teleportation thing, like especially for ceramics, because this would make my life so much easier.
Yeah.
And
yes, maybe we can pass to the next one. Yes.
These are also 3 separate sculptures, but I put them together in the picture. I call them like balancing or like towers, and this is about game of balance. I want to look like it's going to fall any minute, so it makes you a little bit uncomfortable. Like, do you need to support them, or like, should I breathe next to this? And I think they have a bit of sense of the humor that I have, and I like. So it's not serious. It is serious, but it's also funny.
Yeah,
life is like this. And this is the work that have been selected for this competition.
Exactly.
And the name is Where Are the Manuals? So I don't always, when I make something, I don't have the theme in my head at the beginning. So I'm making things and then I remember what I was thinking while making. And after, when I'm assembling this, I'm finding out what I wanted to say. So it's a little bit reversed. And I was thinking about here while making this, I was thinking about how are we using things, and how during our lives, how many unnecessary things are we using and we think we need. So this is like symbolic presentation of like having one little cake or plate with like 20 different tools to use them. So it's kind of absurd. So
Yes, and if I may, before while you were introducing your research, you were saying how important is the element of fun, of enjoyment,
yes.
and what is really striking, at least to me, in the work you presented for the Faenza Prize, is how this element of fun and irony and fragility at the very same time really matches in the display you selected, you decided to present. Another thing that really impressed me was the presentation you did, the short statement you did in order to present your work. And in this statement, you said how important was for you the element of the daily rituals we do every time that we approach daily objects for our houses or we approach our lunches, and the restrictions we also can find in looking at these elements, in these daily elements. And so these two focus, the ritual, the restriction, the freedom, and the enjoyment look to me as sort of something one against each other. And what was really surprising to me was, while we are saying the restrictions to our freedom, our daily life, the rituals of our daily life, or having another day very similar to the next one, it really looks like what we lived during the pandemic time, during the lockdown that we experienced. But you conceived this work before the pandemic.
Yeah, it can apply now also, but some things are changed, but some things are not changed. Like we are obsessed with so many things that are actually not important, and sometimes we find out about this sooner or later. But it's just what we do, and it's interesting to think about this and to find a way to present this. It's for me, I'm always interested in this contrast.
Yeah, of course.
Between what we do and what we think and what we need and what we don't need. And I think maybe on the first look, it looks like something just sweet and fun, but if you want, you can find the meaning in everything. So this is my way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thanks a lot for your for the way in which you introduced your work. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to pass to Joanna, because I think that there are some elements of what we talked with you, Eva, that can be also analyzed in Joanna's work. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. We are laughing because Jovana is in the middle of the night. So she's so kind to be here with us and, depriving herself from her sleep just to stay with us. Joanna, I will leave the stage to you. What the kind of link that I was thinking between the work of Eva and yours was, of course, the inspiration from a sort of Eastern world, the real Far East, in the element of the porcelain, but also in the technique of the kintsugi, which I know it's very important to you. So I would leave the word to you, and then we talk about the work you presented for our prize.
Okay. Thank you. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to Faenza Museum for giving us this opportunity. So my name is Joanna Chavorovich. I'm a Serbian artist living in Japan for the last 3 years. So I'm graduated from Belgrade University of Art, Ceramic Department in 2010. And since then, I'm working as independent artist. And at one moment, I decided to focus more on the sculpture. So I decided to apply for a research program at the Tajimi City Pottery Design and Technical Center, Ishaken. So Ishaken is it's located in the biggest production area in Japan. And it's very good place because it's very easily to approach to many different kinds of materials. And also, as Ian mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Tajimi City is the host for maybe one of the biggest competitions now in the world, the Minos ceramic competition.
Yeah.
So, slide is here. This is the Faenza. This is the work for Faenza Prize, selected for the Faenza Prize. And this is one of the pieces from the pupa series that I made during my research in Ishaken.
May I ask you to just quickly introduce the technique you use to build these pieces, because it's quite peculiar. So if you don't mind to tell us something about how you work, how you build up the sculpture.
So if we can move to, I think it's the third slide. Yeah, that's the one. So I'm using first I make the mold from the clay. And after the bisque firing, I'm start building the work itself from the porcelain slabs. And while I'm building the piece, I'm applying the kohl, the tensha, Japanese transfer paper. So it's covered all the way inside of the work. So some of the pieces from this series are almost completely closed, but there are like some small spy holes, like some small cracks, or I'm just like leaving it open so you can see what's happening inside.
Yes, maybe if we see the picture before.
Yes, if we can just go back to the Faenza's work.
Yeah.
So this piece is fired a couple times. First, it was fired on the high temperature reduction firing. And after that, twice I was firing it on the lower temperature as well reduction. And I was using glaze, like trying to do kintsugi with the different materials, experimenting in this area. So first I was using the glaze, but at the fourth firing, it was overglaze firing with the silver. Almost at the end of the firing, piece exploded in many pieces. So I collected all of them and then I put them back together with the epoxy glue. So again, I was trying to use the new materials, like on reference to the kintsugi.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, what I think it's quite relevant in the work you presented is the idea of kintsugi in itself, the idea of how some breaks, some even technical problems, something that in the classical idea of ceramics would have been considered, as a minor.
Yes.
In your work, instead, tends to create a new effect, to find a new way for the work of art.
Yes.
And what I wanted to ask you is how important was your staying in Japan to arrive to this particular technique? Or, you were interested into the idea of breaking even before, or it grew during your stay in Japan?
Before coming to Japan, I didn't mind that much about the cracks and breaking, as long as they're how to say, like have the good balance with the work, and if they're fine on the place. But after coming to Japan, I think that's become like I start using that even more, because basically for me, the process that's happening in the kiln is as well important as all processes before the firing, like through the making. So I really like to play with that as well. So it's like the never-ending process, actually, and it's very big inspiration for me. So I also, maybe we can go, so those are just like some of the pieces from the same series. If we go next, please. Yeah, this one and the next one. So here I was combining 3 different pieces into one with the glaze.
Yeah.
So next one, please. Next. Yeah, what is also like interesting for my work is the scale. Actually, is the size, because I'm always like how to say, like,
to keep the same.
Yes, it's very inspiring for me to like to do the big size, the big forms, and like the most of those works from the Pupa series, they're like 1 meter diameter, as you could see on the photo where I'm making. And this one here, because I also found very interesting the Japanese transfer paper, as I mentioned before, because usually it's used in production, like on the tableware. So I wanted to try to use it a little bit different way. So here I was applying transfer paper between 2 layers of porcelain, and here I was using the slip cast, so I can get like this effect of transparency.
Yes.
And this piece is also connected from a couple of pieces.
Yes, and regarding the series, I mean, the whole series is called Pupa, right? So even the Pupa in itself has the idea of breaking to give life to something new, no? Which I found also quite interesting.
Yes, actually, like when I came here, I was feeling like a lot of influence are coming from outside, because like everything is totally different, like the new culture, the new environment. But I couldn't actually like feel like anything is getting out and anything is visible. So I felt this process is pretty much similar as the process that's happening during this stage in insect's life. So like inside a lot of things are happening, but from outside it's just the shell.
Yes, absolutely. And again, what I find so interesting in the series of works that we're going to see today, and which I would like to focus our attention on, is that you all presented this work much before the start of the pandemic situation. And but what I find so inspiring is that we all lived, as we were saying before, quite constrained this last year within our houses, within our pupa shell. So even if the work was presented with completely different intentions, of course, the historical time maybe can suggest a new possible interpretation to this idea and to this need of breaking out, of having lights and energy, good energy from the outside, and not only fear of what can contage ourselves. So I really find your work interesting, and plus what is interesting is that sometimes history adds meaning besides what we wanted actually. And we so paradoxically enough, if the prize would have really happened in 2020, the kind of reading we would have done of this work would have been much different from what we are doing right now. So this maybe we can use this strange situation to find something good out of the horrible year we spent. Joanna, we will come back again to some elements, because at the end I would like to put all of you in dialogue. But for the time being, since our time is so short, I need to pass the word to Lorenzo. And to hear from him, if you don't mind, to take us again in a short journey across your research, arriving till what you presented for the prize.
Yeah, I'm Lorenzo Cianchi. I'm an Italian artist. Come from a little village near Florence, and I studied in sculpture in the Academy of Arts of Carrara, and I spent 6 months in Japan in Tokyo's Okkei University. I studied in sculpture, but since I was 15, I started to research in ceramic, and now I have also between my artistic research another group of design called the Rio Grande. My friends know that for me it's very difficult to speak in English, and so I decided to write down a little test to present my work today. Great. I think it's a little bit there is a little bit probably formal to read the test, but I hope it's helped to understand better my research. So, well, today
and thank you for the effort.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, before to arrive to the work, today I decided to select 3 projects that cover the last 10 years of my research in the field of ceramic. But before starting to arrive to the work, I would like to say what my theoretical approach until now is to research the space between randomness and planning. For this reason, I found that in ceramics the perfect medium for this research. Ceramic is a versatility, but at the same time has a strong charge of uncontrollability. So include the acceptance of intermediate error and surprises that the material gives to me when I open the kiln, and usually I accept it in my final results. That means that I project the theoretical frame first, but for the second, for aesthetical aspect, I work directly on the material. The 3 works that I present to you are 3 works that have completely different genesis, both conceptually and in artistic research of material. So the first project that you see now, it's called Relatives, and it dates back in 2012. And I consider it my first professional step. And it's made by 8 sculptures that have affection as main theme. At that time, I wanted to find my roots out of natural family. I wanted to build a new personal family network, and these 8 new strange beings have emerged. They have come from it, visually drawn from the various kingdoms, mineral, animal, and plants. And I propose to you a selection of 2 of them. The sculpture that you see on the left is called 0101, and this is like the others, is a construction of different materials, but the main is based in ceramic. On the right, you can see the sculpture Di Cosmo, and from that sculpture of relative serie starts research for the second project that I present today. You can see the next photograph. Yes. The second project that is called exactly Cosmo, and it started to make in 2016. and it's the main theme. The main theme is the art of divination. I have been fascinated by the idea that the human needed to feel part of a mysterious project, and that he would try to guess it using the means he had. For example, reading the stars and the bird in the sky, read on the animal remains and food, look at the random arrangement of elements such as sticks, stones, or coins. From this curiosity of mine, these discs that you see were born. So, talking about technical process of making, I worked in reverse, and I choose the color and the ported zone, but the slip casting went randomly arranged on the surface. Drawing, it's not calculable geometry. They appear to me like a divination table and a cosmos where I find a sense. They are all work, and what you see is called Cosmo number 2, and it's the largest piece of the series, and it's about 19 centimeters. Irene, if you have some questions, something that you can call or
yes,
you can
not
say
just
me.
for my face. Okay, perfect. I didn't know if I was allowed to interrupt your.
Okay.
No. I will then.
I will. Yeah. I describe my last project that I'm presenting today. It's the third project. The next pictures, yes, that, and the project that it's called Gardens, and it starts from one of my other passion, the shapes of popular pottery and the aesthetics of folk. For this series, I want to work with the simplest and the most common technique that we have in the central region of Italy, colored and gobbled terracotta. And I decided to rework forms of popular tradition by redesign the pictorial floral decoration as a sculptural elements, giving to the works a naive and a taste of immediacy. Each pieces take a shape from a different traditional vase of popular ceramics, and the work you see is called Garden number 1, and it's based on the traditional shape of amphora.
Yeah.
The decoration is a jungle where everyday elements such as glasses, toys, pop icons, etc., are hidden among these botanical elements. And so this is the research before the other project that I present for the Faenza Prize.
Yes, so just before arriving to the work you presented for the Faenza Prize, what I think is quite interesting is the way in which you introduce your research by saying that is always a research in the space between randomness and planning, because actually what we saw till now made by Jovana and Eva was trying to somehow in a complete different formal way, but still to insist in the importance of this element of randomness. For Joanna was the possibility of the cracks in the kiln. For Eva was instead the way in which the final object is never perfect by the distortion of the porcelain in the kiln. With you, this element of surprise comes with a sort of structural research upon also the shapes and the forms of these of what should be planned as classic, even in this element of the amphora and the folk, is always a way to contradict what you expect by the planning of something. And the narration of your work comes between this crack between what is expected and what is completely new. And I think that in that sense, the work you presented for the Faenza Prize is in this sort of line. Here it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. There is two that you see two levels that of this separate the same installation, and I like to have two different elements that have something common but something very different, and this is the how born this idea, this new project. It's like a melting pot of a lot of aspects mixed together. And for example, in that period when I projected this installation, I read a lot of science fiction literature, and I drawing a lot in life drawing outside, or take some elements in studio. But I think the real thing that it's the line that are the same in all the aspects is the language, and the languages. So how it's the background of my last research, and how in specific in the two sides. So how the language help us to understand the reality, and the both side in a completely opposite is how the languages allows how to sabotage the reality. This is the two way in that I focus in this new work.
Yes, and what is interesting to me is some elements you just underlined: the importance of language to narrate a story, to tell us a story. And at the very same time, the story that is suggested, let us say, from Checkpoint Meter, is this possibility of having out of our imaginary, the narrative, the literature we read and we are imbued, there is always this element of the meteor as something that can be a threat for humanity. So something coming out of what you expect as a threat. And what is interesting is that we discovered in this year how the threat wasn't from the outside, but actually from the inside of our society, of our way of the capitalistic exploitation of nature, and so on and so forth. And so again, what was so interesting to me is how nature was suggesting in this work made in 2018 a possible threat, but at the same time something very seducing, and how we can read again the same threat 2 years after in a complete different scenario. And so my last final question is, how did this project develop in the last year? How is your plan to go further in this functional element of narration? Or maybe you took another path and you will develop something completely different?
Yeah, I think the years that we lived, the last year that we lived, asked to us to do a new balance between nature and human, how we are in the nature around us. So, and in my the work of the last year and the next work, talking about how the artist who made ceramics in his studio have to talk with the nature or talk with the society, and it's very important, I think, for us, for the artist, and for the world of art world, to give ourselves some question about this, about the sustainability of the production of art, the sustainability of a lot of things. I think that in a period like this, it's very important to have this it's very important to be in this period. This is very important.
Yes, I agree with you, and thanks a lot for your witnessing. We will come back to this aspect. I think it's really important, this balance between nature and our responsibilities toward natures. And I will use this element of nature to pass to the next artist, Christine, who presented us a work.
Hello.
Hello.
Can
I
you
hear
hear me?
you. I don't see you, but maybe we can try to solve the problem. If not, we will hear you.
Oh, really? I see myself, but I can
Okay.
see you as well.
Oh, great. Then
Okay.
maybe it's me and it's my laptop. So
Okay.
it's okay.
Hopefully. All right. It's okay. Just the voice.
Okay. So sorry, Christine. So just to come back to the work, the work you presented for the Faenza Prize, and maybe we have a presentation. Maybe the presentation can work and go instead of your face. Fantastic.
Okay.
And I will leave you the word introducing your research. What was inspiring to me was the importance of beauty and natural beauty in the work you presented for the prize, coming after Lorenzo and what we were saying. But I leave you the stage, and we will talk again after your short presentation.
Okay, I was listening to other artists, so I can find that today we have 4 artists coming in, and somehow our works related to each other. And this work is not for the Faenza Prize, but it's actually my latest work, which is a series of 4. One is the birds from the Midway Island, and the second one is our sea turtles in Taiwan or over the world, which got trapped by the fishing nets. And the third one was a dolphin. It's all in skeletons, but the dolphin was dead in the oil, the black oil, because of the human. We have oil ships and leaking and all that kind of natural environment problems. So the fourth one is a human skeleton with also the plastic cap, biting the plastic cap, and then died in that kind of status. So this 4 series was talking about the environment, which I made it in porcelain because I think porcelain, the material, has a really interesting relationship between fossils and our firing process, how we use the material from the nature, the stones, the glass, the glazes, and also we use a lot of metal components like cobalt or iron or coppers in our glaze. So everything comes from the natures, and which we artists use it to express our feelings about the society, about the environment, and which this work will last in the earth for a long time. Right? That's how we look at ceramics 1,000 or 10,000 years ago. They are there that we can study what was the human thinking at that time. So in this piece, I wish to capture the situation that we have right now, because a lot of plastic are used, or the trashes was not properly recycled, and it becomes floating on the oceans or just buried in the ground, and which animal would dig it out and eat it. So that was a series of problems that I have over here. Yeah, it's this series work was and won another prize in Taiwan, which we have in Taiwan. We have competitions only supporting for the young artists, and this was a show in Taipei last year. I'm in 2019.
Yes.
Yes. Want to continue? This is the dolphin work with real size. Actually, I went to.
Wow.
There was happened to be an event. I can go and look at it, dissecting the dolphin, which we were lucky that the dolphin doesn't have a plastic bag in their stomachs, but that really happens in a lot of situations. And we have a group of people that they are helping the dolphins, and also use their skeleton to make specimens and show in the museums. In Taiwan, there's a huge exhibition going on right now. So all kinds of dolphin or whales, really in big scales. So I went to the museum, take a lot of pictures and study them and try to make the real size of the skeleton, which to present that kind of situation with kind of like artistic and also
and it's always porcelain. Sorry if I
Yes.
interrupt you, but it's quite relevant considering the size that did it in porcelain.
Yes. Well, I fire in different pieces.
Of course.
I do have a kiln which can afford 160 centimeter long, but the dolphins are almost 250 centimeter long, or even bigger than that. So all the bones are made in porcelain and clay, and a lot of textures over the surface. And what we see right now, the black glaze is a bubble glaze, which were fired to high temperatures. They're creating gas, and the gas will explode, expanded the glaze surface. So I have to sand it down to see what's going on in there. Yeah, this one's the turtle, which this work use a rope, soak it in the color slips, and then put it over the turtle and then fire it all together. So this is also a situation that which a lot of sea animals, bigger, even the fish. Well, the fish nets was wishing to catching the eatable fish, but sometimes they will catch the bigger ones, which we don't want to. We don't eat them, and at that situation, they are already starving to death or really not good to the environment. So we do have a lot of this problem that sea turtles or sea lions that were kept in the fishing nets, with the abandoned fishing nets, actually.
Even worse.
The details. So my work, I think I have been working on decorative parts on my works since in Japan. Actually, I was from Taiwan, but I had my undergrads in Texas. And after that, I went to Japan. I was in Kyoto City University of Art for my master degrees, and spent 4 years over there, also learning from our artists from Japan. And also they have a Mino is really another really big competition, so we can see a lot of work coming overseas. So I'm learning from all the artists, ceramic artists. Also, I was seeing a Faenza many years ago to see the show. So I kind of realized that what I like about ceramics is about the usable of clay that can make really small details and through my hands. And also, why making ceramics is a long history with functional wares that we use in our human society. So this work of series is more related to the one I was selected in Faenza Prize, and it's also the series for the abandoned, rebirth from the abandoned. Abandoned functional wares. So this is a vase that maybe was made in the factory but never get to the shop, and it was abandoned in the factory, or abandoned, bury it in the soil, and maybe in the futures small beings will live on there, and then also their roots might dig into the functional pieces, and everything vitrified together and become a really natural form.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So this piece, this is when I was working on the piece, was selected for the Faenza, and this is more about small cups, also stacked together, and that piece was about 200 small cups that firing all together. Yeah. So I'm also during the making process, I went to the factory to ask for the broken pieces, and sometimes I bought the raw cups back home and then draw the cobalt on the surface by myself, and then stack them and then decorate them and stack them together in the kiln to fire together.
Yeah. Now, what is really interesting, if I may interrupt, if not, we go further. What is really interesting to me is the continuity between within the idea of the abandoned object. No, we started with the killing of fishes out of abandoned nets, and we arrived in the idea instead of the abandoned objects within the market, but also inside the factories, the discard, the waste.
Yes.
And I think that it's something, something that we have to face, as you were saying, in order to understand our time and our responsibilities towards the world, the earth, and ultimately the earth is also the material we use and we study when we talk about ceramics. So I think that as people working with ceramics, we have a special commitment into that.
Yes. I thought about that too.
And the other element that was really interesting to me in this sort of journey we are going through all the world with you artists today, but what was interesting to me is that how even the functionality of the object of our typical capitalistic society is almost totally negated by the work of art you presented.
Yeah, well, I really think that this series of work, also because I travel through many really old regions of ceramic making, like in Spain, like Mallorca, and then in Japan we have in Japan we have so many Sanji. They have made ceramic for 100,000 years, and also in China, Jingdezhen, and then in Taiwan, in Yingge, which is closer to me because I go to Yingge all the time to see a lot of the exhibitions. So which they have been there for a long time, and people making ceramics, making functional wares, as they're breathing, they're eating, it's just their whole life. So how the ceramics means to them is a little different from what it means to me, because when I start learning art, we have many different materials to go through. But how I like ceramics, I really feel like it's something that we made, and then it will stay there for a long time, no matter if we use it or not, no matter if we just collect it or just looking at it, appreciating it. So somehow I'm finding my own balance in between the functional wares, which is usable or not to use it, or it's broken, do we throw it away or do we keep it? And also the balance between why firing in the kiln and how we use the glaze, or does the glaze flow by its own way, and then do I appreciate if it's not the way I wanted, but when the glaze dropped or when they stick together, when I break them, the sharpness of the ceramic, they have their own beauty. That's how I think. It's not not clear enough yet. But,
but you have time to develop the research even further. Now, since time is really running, I have to pass the word. Sorry for that, to Dawid, our last artist today, to have the word. And I think that is the right. Hi, Dawid. I think that with you we might have the right conclusion to this journey that we did today, even though we just followed an alphabetical order, but it's perfect to have you last. In the sense that we talked a lot about the repetition, design, uniqueness, and the charm of ceramics in both aspects. And I think that your work is really into this path, into this fight between uniqueness and repetition. But I will leave the word to you to explain better than me your research.
Okay. Hi again. So today I would like to show you my series Baleen Whales, and here we can see the self-titled work. This is my first project from this series. I've done it in 2015. I just drilled some old plaster mold with a metal brush, and I slip cast it with white and black porcelain. And this group was shown in Unicum International Triennale of Ceramics in Slovenia. And I have a short video of how it's made. So
yes,
let's play it right now.
It should arrive.
Yeah, so I saw once a documentary about whales, and I just connect the structure that I get from this metal brush with these booleans of whales, and that's how I came up with the title. And well, the whole series started because once one of my professors back when I was a student told me that I draw like a monkey. So of course, at first I was offended, but then I take a second look at it, and he was right. Actually, he was right. So from that point on, I've tried to somehow blindfold myself from the process, and I don't. Even till now, I don't like to sketch anything to prepare my ideas. And yeah, so now I work with this negative of plaster mold, and I just validate the outcome of it. So now let's get back to the slideshow.
Yep. Yes, please.
So because of this technique, I can go further and further with each cut and it casts to see and actually study this form or another, and that's why this one is called Elephant Stadium. And yeah, let's go to another one.
Yes, please.
Okay, this one is called Fastest Rabbits. I've done this project during the Spielraum International Symposium in Triptis in Germany. It's a small place with a porcelain factory, and they let me use like a lot of their old molds. So I had the whole yeah, I had the whole basement for myself to dig them, and just to try with each pieces. So because of this dynamic cuts, I used the names like fastest or dynamic or stuff like that. And this project was shown in Rosenthal Rosenthal Center in Selb in Germany after the symposium. Let's get to another one, please. So this is one of my favorite works from the series. It's called Sisters, Night and Death. And I found those molds. They were covered in dust. They were incomplete, and they kind of reminds me of ancient Greek sculptures. So using my techniques, I tried to somehow do the same thing, like represent all the same values with those pieces. And they were shown in Taiwan Ceramics Biennale in 2019. Let's go to the next one. Oh, I really love those two because they're really tiny. This project is called...
Yes, how big are they exactly? Just let us give some measurements to the public just to enter in your world.
Yeah, those are elephants, and they are not much than 7 centimeters tall. Okay. So we called elephants... Wait a second. I have my yeah. They call elephants two shy elephants in a tall grass. So this one was really difficult because the mold was so small that I have to precisely cut every piece. Like every cut should be really precise, not to destroy the mold. That's why I really like them. Okay, let's go to another one.
That's okay, the prize.
So, yeah, exactly. This project was selected for Faenza Prize for Premio Faenza, and it's called Seven Daughters of Nyoba. So I was inspired by these stories from Greek mythology about Nyoba. She lost all her 7 daughters, and then Zeus turned her into stone just to put an end into her misery.
Mm-hmm.
So, inspired by that story, I've tried to somehow put those 7 daughters into stone hard porcelain, and by this act, just to put them all closer together.
Yeah. And it's also clear what is interesting to me is the connection that it's very clear now between the works you presented before. So the evolution of the shape of something that has a clear visual reference, like the elephant or other animals we saw. And in this case, instead, it's not very clear which exactly is the original, if it's human, if it's, mineral or whatever, but it's very clear the process of changing you want to represent in this series that is also a little bit uncanny, because we are fascinated by this strange mutating thing that is always moving, and what I really like also in the presentation, in the short statement that will be linked to the work, is your definition also of the willingness of cross the boundary between art and design in this sort of installation as well. If I might ask you if it's a path that you want to follow also in the coming years, or...
Well, yes, but the design part is more of a inspiration as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So because I used the plaster molds, it's somehow connected to my art. But actually, I don't want to explore it, more of a use it to my art.
No, this yes, sorry, that is very clear to me. What I found very interesting is how to subvert the technique of the design using the multiplicity of the design, not as something standardized, but on the contrary, to use the standard to create the unique variation, which I think it's something very close to the work of all the 5 of you that we discussed today. So I really like the kind of vibe we created throughout the talk, and I'm very sorry that we are not physically together, because would have been great to done then in front of a good glass of wine in Italy, but I'm happy at least that we had this chat in this way. So if there are some questions from the public, some specific question, we can take them. If not, we can say goodbye to our follower. But before, I want just to check if there are some. Okay. So it seems that we were precise enough not to have further questions. So first of all, really thank you all for being here with us, for having shared your research with us, to Jovana and Christine for their time schedule slot to be with us, even if it's not so easy for them. And if who is listening is interested to know more about your work, there will be the book launch of the catalog of the exhibition that should be, and they can know more about you even there. and thanking you for being here really again. I would like also to introduce the talk of next week. You know that each and every week on Thursday we have this talk, and so next week on the 11th I will coordinate again. Sorry for the public, but the artists are again great, so please join us, and we will have a chat with Monica Grichko, Peter Christian Johnson, Yves Malfi, Robert Rumiers, Elena Sus. So I hope to see the public with us next week, and thank you again for your participation today, to you all. Bye. Thanks.